Hello everybody, welcome to our tutorial on wood burning. So if you do wood burning at Crafts and Drafts, this is one of the crafts where we do require a waiver. And the reason for that is obviously we are using high heat tools like pyrography pens, and we just want to make sure that people are taking it seriously and they're being very safe while they use these tools. So over here we have kind of some safety materials that I want to go over first. We have safety goggles that you might want to use. We also have high heat gloves that can protect your hands just in case your hands might slip off the wood burning pen or something like that. We also have our wood burning pen here, which I went ahead and turned on to go ahead and start getting it hot. I actually recommend generally that if you don't know what you're doing, that you don't turn it on and start heating it up until you're actually ready to burn. Underneath the wood burning tool, we have the stand. Now you want to make sure that your pen is resting on the stand, not resting on the table, especially if you have a table that might get scorched or burned or something like that. And then underneath the wood board, I have a high heat protective mat. And this again just kind of further protects the table just in case, especially because the stand is metal and that will continue to get hot with the wood burning pen. So you want to make sure you're not touching any part of the wood burning pen here and not touching the stand as well. I have a piece of test wood here that I'm just going to use to test out how hot my wood burning pen is. You can also always use the back of your board should you decide to do so. This is an item that we won't use until the end. This is just some wire and some D-rings that we'll use for hanging at the end, but that's not for a minute. And then we have our design materials over here. So I went ahead and chose a stencil that I'm going to use to go ahead and kind of put on our wood burning board. I'll end up tracing it out with a pencil, and then to hold the stencil in place, I'm just going to use some tape. Okay, so the first step is to just go ahead and you want to create your design, your pattern for wood burning. So I went ahead and I've taped the stencil to the board where I want it, just so that it's not moving around while I'm doing this. So absolutely make sure that you remove your stencil. You do not start wood burning until all plastic is removed from being anywhere near the wood burning pen. So just a couple things about the wood burning pens or pyrography pens before we get started. So you'll notice that there is a certain tip on here. It has many different looks, but this is something that we call a writing nib. And pretty much it's just it's what we start all of our wood burners with at Crafts and Drafts, just because generally your first step is going to be tracing whatever pattern you put on your board. If you would like additional tips, you can ask the staff and they'll be able to walk you through ones you might want to use and help you switch them up. Anytime you're switching the tip of the wood burning pen, you want to turn it off and let it sit for 5 to 10 minutes so that it completely cools. Then switch the tip and then turn it back on again to let it heat up. You never try to switch the tip while it's still hot. It not only is dangerous, but it also, the tip might not become secure because this is hot metal, and as we know, hot metal or cold metal, it will expand or contract differently based on the temperature, so you don't want to do that. All right, and then the next thing another tip I want to give, people's instinct is always to press really hard on the wood burning board. You actually don't want to do that. You want to just very gently touch the wood burning pen to it. And the reason for this is that no matter what wood you use, it's going to have some level of grain. And if you press too hard, your hand is actually going to start being carried away with the grain. So you don't want that. It also just damages the wood burning pens. It can look really choppy when you press too hard. So you definitely just want to have like a nice light touch and let the heat kind of guide it. All right, so let's go ahead and start some wood burning. All right, so I personally probably would have gone through this a couple of times if I wasn't just kind of trying to show you guys how to do this. But yeah, so now we have a wood burned design. The best way, if you want to add color to this, which I'm going to go ahead and show you as well, if you want to add color to this, the best way to do that is with colored pencils. You don't want to do that beforehand. You generally want to wait until everything is burned and then kind of go back and color in if you have time. All right, so let's add some color to this. All right, and the last step is just to use our D-rings and wire to hang this up. All right, and there we go. So now you have a beautiful wood-burned piece ready for hanging in your home. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate your guys' time and look forward to seeing you at Crafts and Drafts. Bye.